Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jessica Nicole. I'm a self-published author of YA fantasy romance novels, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of May. So the first thing that I read in May was actually a trilogy that left me all kinds of confused. I was in like such a state of shock, I guess, when I first started reading book one of the Fair Isle trilogy by Tishanya Odette. Book one is To Carve a Fey Heart, and I had such high hopes for this series because I loved Tishanya Odette's other book that I've read from her, which is Heart of the Raven Prince. Loved that book. I think I first heard Sarah Caroli talk about it, and so I picked it up and I loved it. I knew that characters that were mentioned in that book, like the Fair Isle trilogy, was their story, so I was excited to jump into it, and unfortunately I was very much disappointed by book one. I just have so many issues with it: the characterization, the pacing, the tropes, the plot. I just didn't like basically anything about it. I liked the premise and that was about it. So basically the premise of the Fair Isle trilogy is it follows this girl named Evelyn who, long story short, is chosen to be like the next human queen of the Autumn Court. And along that journey, she doesn't really want to be the human queen. Like, she hates the guy that she's matched with. She like dislikes all things magical and fae, and just in general because of something that happened to her and her sister when they were a little younger, and she just wants no parts of this. She wants to be a surgeon, and she, you know, basically hates Aspen by default because he's like ruining her life. She is, along the way though, she kind of discovers like different things about her own self and her own like hidden powers, and she comes into her own, and yeah, the story kind of develops from there. There's a war, there's betrayal, there's intrigue, little espionage going on, lots of magic, lots of romance, and all that good stuff you expect. The only thing is, it just didn't quite hit. Like, I hated like all of these characters besides a couple. Like, I love Foxglove, love Lorelai. The side characters I really liked. Franco, who is a side character in these books and a main character in Heart of the Raven Prince. I loved him in this, and I felt like the chemistry between him and Evelyn was so much more intense. Like, it was so much more believable than between her and her actual love interest, Aspen. Hated Cobalt, hated basically everybody, loved Nixia. Yeah, basically the side characters I love, the main characters annoyed me. I will say, in the second book, the first book ends off on a cliffhanger that leads you right into the second book, which is To Wear Fey Crown. Second book, Evelyn kind of comes into her own. She's discovering things about herself. She's on this kind of journey of self-discovery. Evelyn and Aspen are separated for most of this book, and I like her better. Like, when she's not with him, I don't know, like, I just, when they're together, they're so annoying to me, and I feel like I learned to like her more in book two. The second book in general is just better than the first one. The plot is better, the characterization is better, the themes are, you know, more complex, and I will say I gave book one 2 stars, and I gave book two 4 stars, and I gave book three 4 stars as well. Like I said, things just got better, and I will say in book three, I believed the romance a little better. Her writing just kind of got better with each book, honestly, and I liked how the story came full circle. I loved all the Fae lore that was woven into the story. The story, for me, it had good bones. It just didn't hit, like I said. It just didn't land. There was just something missing for me, and so for that reason, the series overall is a 3-star series for me. I would go back and skim the series again, possibly read books 2 and 3 again, but I never want to read book 1 again, especially since, you know, I know what happens in it. I don't feel the need to read it again. But 2 and 3 were like good books, and I would go back and read those again. Moving on from that, in between these 3 books, I actually read 2 others. So one of the other books that I read this month actually ended up becoming my favorite. Sorry, I've got my iPad like propped onto like the tripod that I use for my phone. But anyways, we're making it work. It actually ended up becoming my new favorite book. Like, I just was blown away by the storyline in this book. It's Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book has so much hope and heart in it, and it's just such a beautiful story. It tells the story of Maddie. She's been living her life basically in a bubble because she's allergic to the world. And if she goes outside, she could die. Like, if she gets sick, it's basically going to be fatal. And she's lived her whole life inside of her house, and she's been fine like that until she meets the boy next door. Him and his family move in next door, and the two of them kind of form a bond that turns into a friendship, that turns into a romance, and things just go from there. It's just such a beautiful story about bravery and hope and taking risks and coming into your own. And I just loved the story so much. Like, it was so beautiful and refreshing. I had seen the movie years ago, and after I read the book, I watched the movie again. I love the book and the movie, and the book is just an instant easy 5 stars for me. And like I said, it's my new favorite book. I love it so much. I'm going to go back and reread it over and over and over again. And yeah, I liked all the illustrations in the book as well, and I liked how it was written. It felt like a diary mixed with a novel, and so for that reason, like, it never got slow or boring for me. I always am hesitant with contemporary romances because I feel like I need something going on. Like, with fantasy romances, there's always action, there's always magic and high stakes and something going on, and like contemporary romances can feel kind of boring to me, but this one never got boring because of the way it was written, and I loved it so much more than I expected to. So I'm excited to read my other Nicola Yoon book that I got to read this summer, Instructions for Dancing. And then the other book I read in between the 3 Fair Isle novels was This Poison Heart by Kailyn Byron. This tells the story of Briseis, who inherits this gothic mansion from her birth family, and her mom's move there, and she meets the weird people in this town. She discovers there's a poison garden, there's an apothecary, she's immune to poisons, and all this stuff kind of, it's like a lot of discovery in the beginning. It reads very much like a mystery, and you're trying to figure out like why her aunt left her this place when it seems like her birth mom like did everything to keep her away from this place, why everybody in her birth family seems to die under these mysterious circumstances, why she's immune to poisons. She also has this power that she can like grow plants and manipulate plants. Who can she trust? Kailyn Byron, if you've read Cinderella's Dead, like, she is a master at betrayals, and she did not disappoint in this one. This betrayal in this one, like, it cut me deep, and I was expecting it to come from some other direction, but it came like from the other direction, and it was just like blindsided me. And the story leaves off on this cliffhanger where she has to like complete a task within a certain time period, or something horrible is going to happen. And so that brings me to This Wicked Fate, which is book 2 in the duology, and I'm going to read that this upcoming month in June. And then after I completed those 5 books, I listened to Float on Audible. Float is just a fun little story about a teenage girl who moves. Oh, and I gave This Poison Heart 4 stars. Sorry. The only reason it wasn't 5 stars for me is because it was a little bit slow in the beginning. I came into it expecting like a fast-paced fantasy romance, and it is a fantasy romance, but it's more like a kind of gothic thriller fantasy romance mystery type thing. So once I figured out what I was reading, it made sense, the pace made sense, but it was kind of like bothering me in the beginning, and so it kind of like gave me like a sour taste on the book a little bit, and so 4 stars, but I'm thinking that the sequel is going to be 5 stars because we've got all the world building and everything out of the way, and we can just jump right into the story. So I'm hoping for that, high hopes for the sequel. Okay, and then Float is, I gave this one 3 stars because it was just a cute little contemporary romance about a girl from Alaska who's spending the summer with her aunt in Florida. She's making friends, learning to swim, and falling in love for the first time. And that's basically what it is. And it's a cute little story. It was fun, it was funny, it was, no complaints, like, for what it was. Some of the cultural references were a little bit cringy, but like I can move past it, like some of the pop culture references, I guess. But it was a cute little story, and I enjoyed listening to it. It was just, nothing extraordinary, nothing revolutionary. I haven't thought about it since I read it, so 3 stars. Would read it again, but would I recommend it? Maybe if you want like a quick little cute beach read or something, but it was nothing to write home about. So 3 stars. And then the last book that I read this month, right? 7, yeah. Last book that I read this month was The Incomparable Crooked Kingdom. Oh my gosh, like, I thought Six of Crows was good. No, I thought the freaking Shadow and Bone trilogy was good, and it was. I thought Six of Crows was amazing, and it was. But Crooked Kingdom is just fantastic. I love this book so much. It was so painful, it was so powerful, it was so beautiful, and I feel like I'm a better person for having read it. I feel like I'm gonna be a better writer for having read it. I feel like I'm just, more like inquisitive reader for having read it. I'm gonna expect so much out of every book going forward because Leigh Bardugo is an artist. I love the way that she crafted this duology. I love how, like, neatly everything was tied up, how everything kind of comes full circle, but it leaves room for the reader's imagination to grow. I love how she's not afraid to go there, how she's not afraid to, like, cause the characters pain, to give them purpose, and to let them grow and change and become better. Like, all these characters have so much pain and trauma and just obstacles and circumstances to overcome, and they do so, and it's messy and dirty how they get there, but they get there, and it's so beautiful to see. I love the storyline. I love how they are, like, I love the found family. I love the heist aspect of everything. But it's so much more than just like a heist series. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's just a study in, like, human nature and the human spirit and the resiliency of people and the kindness and cruelty that people are capable of. I love the diversity in this book as well, and it's not like just diversity for the sake of diversity. It's not like it's thrown in there and it doesn't make sense. Like, she takes the time to go into detail about each culture and give them history and give them traditions and give them religion and laws, and it just feels so real. And I love Ketterdam. I love the city she created. I love the world of the Grishaverse in general, but just in this little duology, how she was able to create this place that felt so real. Like, it felt like I was there with them. I love the crows. They're just gonna be in my heart forever, and yeah. So I had such a good reading month. I am so excited to continue reading this June. I feel like the Fair Isle trilogy tried to put me in a book slump, but like my other books that I read this month quickly drug me out of that book slump, so I was grateful for those. I have a very ambitious TBR for the summer that I'm going to be sharing very, very soon, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see from me in the future, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.